Welcome to the fundamentals of spatial streams, or as I call it, wireless secrets revealed. How fast it all changes. 802.11g gave us 54 megabits per second. We cried for more, as we always do, and 802.11n arrived with hyperspace speeds of 300 megabits per second. And now, there are vendors offering 450, yet still under the 802.11n spec. I mean, what is happening here? It's good stuff, don't get me wrong, but you need to be careful. You know, we first need a little spatial orientation. 802.11n radios give us this 300 megabits per second in a 2x2 setup. That's 2 spatial streams times 2 channels times 75 megs per channel. Now, as long as you have matching transceivers on both ends of the link, highly important. These 450 meg promises are in what is called 3x3 radios. It's this extra spatial stream being added here. Now, there's nothing theoretically wrong with this, but you know what? It reminds me of razor blade marketing. I mean, if 2 is twice as good as 1, then 3 or more have got to be incredible. Maybe. MIMO, or multi-in, multi-out, allows multiple data streams to be sent simultaneously. It operates as a continuum, somewhere between pure diversity on one side and pure spatial multiplexing on the other. Pure diversity is all about reliability. The same data streams are being transmitted and received with multiple antennas. Multiple copies that obviously give us a very reliable communication path. Spatial multiplexing, it's all about throughput. At this extreme, every radio is being used to send data, no copies. Everything is throwing data, and it can get up to 450 megabits per second. Now, deployments won't commonly be at either extreme. We all want to maximize the balance. It's all about reliable throughput. So 450 megs is really just potential throughput. You know, just for fun, you can go buy these access points and let's see what the deployment might look like. Well, your users must be within 10 feet or less of the access point. It helps if you lower the ceilings to 6 feet or less. You know what? You're going to need to double the APs deployed, so you're going to still have the coverage you need. You know, this is probably not a real-world situation for anyone. At least none of us live in PowerPoint, right? Reality is that these transceivers must be able to back off on this speed-at-all-cost stuff so they can adjust to their environmental conditions. This means that some part of the radio is going to have to give up its data transmission role to lend a hand with reliability instead. One crazy idea, how about we add a 4th radio? This would allow some offload for those other radios and let us see that throughput reliability combination that we so crave here. I mean, could that work? Adding a 4th radio means designing custom silicon. I mean, I can only think of one enterprise vendor with the street cred to pull something like that off. Of course. And this is good, because it's not just a hardware accomplishment. This 4th radio gives us some really unique gains. It's called a 4x4 MIMO design, and the gains are enhanced performance for all clients, even these single-stream mobile client devices, not just the 3-stream clients. There's 2 critical things happening here. First off, redundancy gain. The extra radio provides an additional dimension of freedom when resolving the transmitted signals. Remember this from college linear algebra? Now it's just 4 equations with only 3 unknowns. This alone accounts for at least a 10% increase in range. But that's only part of it. Even more important is diversity gain. Each receiver is going to experience differences in attenuation, delay, and phase shift. This is normal. When this interference gets real bad, it's called fading. A deep fade would be a very low signal level received on a particular antenna. For 3 spatial data streams, 3 good signals are needed so that all 3 data streams can be resolved. And if just one of them experiences deep fading, transmission fails, or at least it drops back to a lower transmission rate. Now, by comparison, with a 4x4 MIMO, you have a 4th team member allowing balance for any fade experienced on any antenna. What you have is diversity. It's the ability to balance and maximize the communication path. Now, one more thing to consider here when talking about real wireless deployments, we don't have control over the clients that need to connect, right? Remember when I reminded you about the 11N spec requiring radios on both ends of each length, identical radios? How often is that really under your control? I mean, think about our wireless devices today. The client-side radios will most likely be single-streamed mobile devices and could be on any part of this alphabet soup of standards we have floating around. This is where transmit beamforming comes in. It's a very cool part of the 802.11n spec that enables a wireless transmission to be shaped so that it arrives in phase at the receiver. Signals that arrive out of phase, well, they cancel each other out and cause that fading that we talked about. So 11N beamforming is fantastic for maxing out your communication path, but it really only works with certain 802.11n clients. I mean, you can forget about the A, B, or G radios. This is where Cisco Client Link kicks in. Client Link is able to measure the wireless channel often with as little as one packet and pre-compensate the transmission without any dependence on the client. It's a combination of beamforming and spatial multiplexing where all 4 transmit chains can be active even when there are fewer than 4 data streams. This gain on the signal-to-noise ratio is just part of how Client Link gets you better distance, higher reliability, and maximum availability for all of your clients, from your pro laptop to your battery-sipping tablet. Faster speeds and more capacity for everyone. This is the kind of flexibility we all need. This new marketing goldmine around 450 megs with 3 spatial streams, yeah, it's worth looking at. There's a lot of value to be had here, but don't get too enamored with what is possible. Make sure you're getting what you pay for.